آریانا افغانستان یگانه شبکه تلویزیونی ملی افغانها در خارج از کشور.
توانا بود ارکی دانا بود، ز دانش دل پیر برنا بود. دلای آبخون که خدای پنامه گران و قدمن و دوستان و سلام علیکم هیلت چرا خوشحال ها و راموسی او دنن رازه ده پوهن راناده په اخبرونه دیر خیر اغلاست زه مریم اسماعیل سلایم او دا اخبرونه تاست ده آریانا افغانستان ده نریواله شبکیز خبرنده کام خدای دکری چه دنن رازه ده اخبرونه معلومات هم ستاسد از رپورت او استفاده وارسیگی بینندگان عزیز و ارجمند برنامه دانش روشنایی است. با عرضه صحت سلامت شما برنامه امروز آغاز می‌کنیم. امیدوارم شاد و صحتمند باشین و هفته خوش و پرثمره در هر گوشه و کنار جهان که هستین با عزیزانتان با آرامش و خوشی سپری کرده باشین. دوستان عزیز برنامه ما فیسبوک لایف هم هست. انشالله که همکار تکنیکی ما برنامه را فیسبوک لایف گذاشتن و ما هم البته با صفحات مختلف برنامه را شریک می سازم و امیدوار هستم شما دوست عزیز هم بتونین که برنامه امروز با عزیزانتان شریک ساخته بتونین و امیدوار هستم که عزیزانی که با ما به فیسبوک نیستن اونا هم بتونن که از برنامه خوب ما امروز مستفید شون. در برنامه امروز خوشحال هستم که میمان عزیز را داریم، میمان جوان را داریم که حاضر شدن تا بتونن که از تجارب خوب تحصیلی خود که چی استفاده کردن و چی پلان های دارن و چطور از تحصیلات خود برای پیشرفت برای آینده خود استفاده خوب میکنن. حاضر شدن که با ما باشن و در مورد صحبت های داشته باشن و برنامه بسیار خوب است برای همه مخصوصا برای جوانان و نوجوانان عزیز و امیدوار هستم که برنامه را ببینین و با صفحات فیسبوکتان هم شریک بسازین. مهمان عزیز امروز ما اسما جان پوپل هستند که بچلر دیگری بچلر آف ساینس از در رشته مولکولر بیولوژی سل مولکولر بیولوژی از یونیورسیتی یوتا در دسامبر سال 2020 اخذ کردن و همچنین درجه بچلر آف ساینس دیگری در رشته بزنس منیجمنت از یونیورسیتی یوتا در آگوست 2020 اخذ کردن و فعلا هم مشغول اخذ درجه ماستری در رشته فایننس هستند در یونیورسیتی یوتا که به سال 2022 انتظار دارن که بخیر درجه ماستری را هم اخذ کنن. از چیزی که در موردشان خواندم جوان موفق و پرکار هستند، جوان زحمت کش هستند و انشالله که تجاربشان صحبتهایشان برای ما شما مفید واقع میشه، مخصوصا برای جوانا و نوجوانا و برای والدین گرامی هم که بتونین صحبتهایی داشته باشین با فرزندانتان در مورد پلانهای آیندهشان، چطور میتونن موفق باشن، رازهای موفقیت چی است و چی رشته های و من آرزو دارم که جوانای عزیز برای که تحصیلات خود در رشته های مختلف تمام کرده باشن دعوت کنم که بیان در مورد تجربه خود صحبت کنن و یک ارتباط و کنکشن در بینشان پیدا شود و این حال مثلا برنامه امروز ما شاید برای تعداد جوانای مقتدی رشته ها علاقه دارن برشان ایدیا پیدا شد و شاید که میمون عزیز ما اسما جان برشان نظریات خوب داشته باشن که اونا را همکاری کنن و البته خوشحال هستم که اسما جان از طریق زوم با خود دارم. با آله اسما جان عزیز با ما می پیوندن و انتظار صحبت ایشان هستیم و با پای صحبت با ایشان می نشینیم. اسما جان سلام علیکم، خوش آمدین. خوشحال هستم که با ما هستین.
Salam alaikum. Thank you so much, Mrs. Mariam Jan Arsalah, for inviting me. And thanks for all the viewers today who are watching as well.
Thank you for being with us, Asma Jan. Asma Jan, in the beginning, if you don't mind taking us to your childhood, where were you born, where did you grow up, until you graduated high school, just give us some overview of your experiences.
Yeah, of course. So originally I was born in Russia, but I came here to America when I was 2 years old, and I've lived in Utah all my life.
Just 1 second, please. همکار عزیز اگر یا آواز بلند کنین چون که من صحبت شما رو میشنوم، از میمون نمیشنوم، معذرت میخوایم. اوکی، بفرمایین اسما جان عزیز، معذرت میخوایم از اینکه خلال ده صحبتایتان آوردم. Please go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. So here in America, the structure for education is pretty simple. You have pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, and then 1 through 7th grade, depending on what kind of program you're in. And then middle school is from 7th grade to 9th grade. And then high school is from 9th to 12th. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I really loved to read books, and a lot of my teachers saw that. So I would usually get into extended reading programs where they would help me learn about new words, and I would work with higher students who were in like a year or two ahead of me, mm-hmm. and that was really helpful. Okay. I think for anyone, no matter what country they are, having the opportunity for their children to read a lot, all kinds of books. I would read, about geology, about architecture, about math, about science, and that really prepared me for, the harder grades ahead of me. Even though I didn't understand everything 100%, it gave me some familiarity about the topic and the background itself.
That's awesome. And then, okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Yes, go on, please.
Yeah, so after my general elementary, I went into middle school, and because I was able to have such proficient reading and math skills and science as well, I was able to get into the extended learning program, or ELP. And most schools offer this. So if you have a child right now in middle school, I would suggest talking to their teachers and their counselor, see how well they are in their grades to get into this program.
Because most often... Did you say ELP? Yeah. ELP, okay. What does it stand for?
Yeah, ELP, Extended Learning Program.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the benefits of this program, what happened again, I was just given advanced courses while the same students in my same class were just taking the at that specific level. So I was able to learn about engineering. We would make roller coasters, for example, but other children and just the general class, they would learn, just easy conceptual math rules. So if you're able to, again, talk to the teacher, because most often what happens is the teacher won't tell you about these extra programs. They'll just pick students they think are excelling. But if you, bring your student to after-school programs, help them get tutoring, actually help them get a relationship with their teacher so that they, will give them these opportunities. That's what really will help them to succeed later on in high school afterwards.
Okay, I'll give a brief and translation. قسمی که اسما جان گفتن که وظیفه تمام مکاتب، حتی مکاتب ابتدایی هم پروگرام های انریچمنت یا اضافی دارن که برای شاگردایی که یعنی زیادتر با استعداد هستن که یک چالش داشته باشن. بعضی اوقات اگر متوجه شده باشین که بسیاری شاگردایی که بسیار یعنی صنف تدریسیشان که در صنفی که می باشن از سویشون اگر یک ذره پایین‌تر باشه خسته میشن، دلسرد میشن و بچه‌ها اومن که اگر شوخ باشن زیادتر به شوخی و دیسرپشن دست میزنن. از اون لحاظ خوب است که در پروگرام هایی که قسمی که اسما جان گفتن extended learning program که پروگرام هایی است که بسیاری کارهای چیزهایی که زیادتر اونا رو چالش میتن، زیادتر یک اکستنشن و یک با سویه های بلند پروگرام هایی است که اونا میتونن که بسیاری کارها را بسیاری چیزای نو یاد بگیرن، بسیاری چیزایی است که مثلا اگر این چیز هم نداشته باشه، ساینس کلاب می باشه و یا یک کلاب مات می باشه، چیزایی که سویه درسی شاگرد زیادتر بلند میبره و او خوب است که علاوه بر از که برای شاگردایی که یعنی کار مکتب برایشان آسان است، به اون پروگرام ها باشن، بسیار برایشان خوب است. So tell me about high school. Did you do any extracurricular activities, anything that helped you? Did you take any AP advanced placement classes or anything?
Yeah, so definitely in high school, I was able to start high school in my 8th grade instead of 9th grade usually.
Oh, how come?
But again, because I was in that ELP program, they let you advance a year ahead. So it's a really good program. And then, so my 8th grade, I would learn 9th grade classes. And then when I was in my 10th grade, that's when I started my AP or advanced placement classes. And then as well as the IB program, which is the International Baccalaureate program. Only specific schools have it, but I've seen it increasing a lot more now. So if you're able to have your student attend such a school, a high school that has either AP or IB or concurrent enrollment, that's a different type of program that also gives you college credit, but it's not as advanced, but you can still get general education credits as well for that.
That's awesome. And did you go to a four-year college directly, or did you go to a community college first? What did you do?
So I decided to just go straight into my university. We do have several community colleges, but I was able to get a full ride scholarship, so that allowed me to take classes without having the financial burden. Okay. But I started applying for scholarships around 10th grade. And I think it's important that a lot of people start researching in 10th grade, figuring out who they want their recommended letters to be by, which high school teachers that they have a really good relationship or think they will have the next 2 years, and keeping it just strong and learning from that teacher is really important. That's what I had, especially with my biology teacher. And then when you get into your AP classes, it's really important to start gaining the life skills then on, time management, being able to prepare for several different projects as well as exams at the same time, and being able to work with others. Teamwork was a really big thing. I think every single AP class, every single IB class, I had to do team projects. Learning those kind of just general emotional intelligence skills is really important early on.
That's awesome. Thank you. خب دوست عزیز، قسمی که اسما جان گفتن که اینا یک اسکالرشپ کامل داشتن برای 4 سال تعلیمی خود که و شروع از اینکه اینا اپلای کنن برای اسکالرشپ ها از صنف دهم شروع کردن و این بسیار ضرور است که فرزندان ما اگر یعنی سوی بلند تعلیمی دارن و صنف های ادوانس پلیسمنت و یا ای پی میگیرن، خوب است که از امو سن تشویقشان کنیم که به اسکالرشپ های مختلف در رشته‌هایی که علاقه دارن اینا پیش اپلای کنن و که از امو قسمی که ما شما میبینیم چقدر امی هزینه و یا تویشن کالج چقدر عالی، پانتونا یا فاکولته های 4 ساله، یونیورسیتی های 4 ساله چقدر بلند است و بعضی اوقات ما شما اصلا فرزندان ما شاید کوالیفای نشن به خاطر که دلایل مختلف، اما اگر سن خورتر اینا رو تشویق کنیم که اپلای کنن بهتر است. خب اسمان جان، one question about your scholarship. The scholarship that you apply for, it also have, I know that it's based on your grades, but does your family income have anything to do with those scholarships or no?
Yeah, so the scholarship I applied for was called the Daniels Scholarship, Daniels Fund Scholarship. It opens up around October. So if anyone has students who are in their junior year or senior year of high school, I would certainly say apply for it. It did take 4 to 5 months for the entire process to finally get accepted. And then the minimum requirements originally, of course, were having a good GPA. I would recommend having at least a 3.2 to 3.5. If you can get higher than that, then that's amazing. But around that GPA for scholarships is really good. The other kind of accomplishments they wanted was seeing if you did a lot of volunteering during your time, as well as making sure the volunteering was like through long periods of time. So for example, I volunteered up at the primary children's hospital we had for about a year, and they really appreciated that. They also liked, making sure you had other extracurriculars, like some kind of sport, or if you're really good at music, playing an instrument like piano or violin is really good. Art, writing books, anything that kind of shows you as a holistic person more than just your grades. I'm seeing that a lot in scholarships nowadays as well. And then the financial factor is part of it, of course. If your parents are able to pay for your entire schooling for 4 years, you are going to be less likely to get any full ride or partial scholarships.
Okay, thank you. It's great to know, because I was thinking a lot of times two parents who are working, their children are not going to be qualified for financial aid. So I was hoping that the scholarship, if it's based on your grades, that would increases their chances of getting the scholarship. But I think it has a lot to do with the financial situation of the family also. All right, Asma John, as I can see that you have a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management and Molecular and Cellular Biology, two different fields. What got you interested? Which one were you interested in first, and what made you interested in getting your degree also in cellular molecular biology? How are you going to use them?
Yeah, so this first one, this Bachelor's of Science in Cellular and Molecular Biology, was actually, I was just really passionate about science since I was little. I loved reading about geology. I loved reading about, DNA especially. And in the 7th grade, I think it's really struck with me the vastness of the smallest things in this world. When we think about, the entire earth, or we think about like a dinosaur, we think of something really large. But when we really think about what's impacting us every day, it's the smallest things. It's the things we can't really see. Viruses, like how we have the COVID pandemic right now, genetic mutations that affect, people, animals, crops nowadays in regards to trying to create agriculture in different types of environments. So that's really what was the basis of my desire to get this specific type of degree, was because I wanted to see how the little things that affected us every day, how I could be part of that, whether it was in lab research or teaching others about it. So that's kind of where I came in regards to the biology background.
Very good. So then what interested you in business management?
So business management, I actually didn't really think about it at all, not until I was in my senior year of high school. I had to take an extra elective in order to graduate, and my counselor said, you have taken so many science classes, you've taken a couple art and psychology classes, why not take something in business? So I took like a basic business class, but the teacher, he was really adamant about teaching us the importance of finances. And a lot of high school classes, there's a financial literacy class that many people take over the computer. It's not very long, and it's not very, it's helpful, but it doesn't really show you what you need once you have graduated and start needing to start in your general career, or if you want to buy a house or a car, etc. He decided to, show us very advanced terminology. He showed us the different types of financial statements and how we could read over them. And so I realized, because I wanted to go into lab research and I wanted to also start a business one day, that I would need a business background so I wouldn't have to rely on other people to tell me what to do and to charge me a lot of fees.
Very good. So tell us about your college experience overall, and tell us about the specifics. What made it hard? What was hard? What was easy? How did you get through it?
Yeah, so I was lucky. The scholarship that I was able to get, they had a support system at the university. I had my own specified counselor, as well as older students who were either juniors or seniors guiding me through the process as well. And each major also gets their own specific counselor as well. So I had a biology major as well, and I also had a business major counselor. So though I really wanted to get to know them, so I would visit them multiple times throughout the semester. Most people are just expected to see their counselor once a semester, just to make sure that they're on track in regards to their grades and in regards to the classes they want to take for the next semester. But I made it a point to at least see them 2 or 3 times a semester to talk about my goals, to see what their expertise and advice was. And each time I did that, they became more and more connected with me, and they were able to give me more resources just based on me giving them ideas of what I wanted for my future college experience. So I would say for sure for your freshman year, as soon as you can, talk to your counselor, get to know your professors. Don't be shy, sit in the back, the first day, go up, shake their hand, or just say hi generally, introduce yourself, let them know you're excited for the class, and keep up that type of relationship. Email them if you have questions, go to their extra classes or courses that they sometimes give. Let them know that you really are interested in the subject and that you really want to, be a presence in that class. Most of the time in my class is only about 3 to 5 people, and in a class of like 50 to 100 people would talk, and you could see those were the people that the professor really valued. And a lot of the time those were the students who would become TAs later on, or teaching assistants. They would get to work in the labs with their professors. For example, I had a biology professor, Sophie Karen, who I really got to know, and because of that I got to work in her lab, where I learned about Drosophila and humidity levels, or it's a type of fruit fly. So that research was really interesting and made me realize a lot more about genetics. So I would say, for your freshman year, get to know your counselors, find a support system. There's a lot of clubs, there's a lot of after-school tutoring, and it's free tutoring, especially on campus. Don't get tricked into, getting a flyer and paying someone, $30 or $40 an hour. There's a lot of free resources on campus to help out with that.
That's awesome. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so that was, freshman year, that's what I would do. If you're going on to your sophomore year, your second year, the most important thing I would say after you get those generals done, see how many classes overlap each other if you decide to do more than one major, or if you want to do a minor. For example, I actually got a minor in chemistry without realizing it, just because of the fact that I took more biochem related classes. I took lots of labs that I thought were interesting, and it turns out they also had a chemistry credit to them. So talk to your counselors and see, can I get a minor if I take courses that overlap each other that I'm still interested in? And then if I wanted to do a double major, what courses could I overlap so I don't need to take, for example, I had to take statistics, and they said if I took the science statistic, it wouldn't count towards my business degree, but if I took the business statistics class, it would count towards my biology degree. So rather than taking 2 separate statistics classes by accident, I ended up just taking the one, and it covered for both of the majors.
That's awesome. That's really important. Those are good advices you're giving. So were you involved in anything extracurricular in college? Were you in any clubs? Are there other Afghan students to have an association or anything?
Yeah, so in high school I played tennis just because I really loved it, and it also helped cover my PE credits.
Right.
And I decided my freshman year to keep playing tennis, and I joined the club there. My sophomore year, we did actually have an Afghan Student Association union, and I joined them. We were able to create a Nowruz celebration during International Day at the University of Utah, which was really fun to be able to teach, about the culture, the food, the type of, traditional clothing. My junior year, I decided that I wanted to work more. So in regards to extracurriculars, I didn't do that much, but I did do an internship. It's really important in your junior and senior year to get an internship, whether paid or unpaid, depends on, you know, your background and what you're capable of doing. And that summer of my junior year, I worked with Roots of Peace, which is an international nonprofit that helps remove the mines from the mines that you would walk upon and that could blow up. And they also helped agriculture to help regrow the land that had these mines that they were able to remove. And then in my, thanks. In my senior year, I decided to do that same thing again, except this time I did an internship with a social marketing business in that summer as well. So in that, I learned about different types of technologies. For example, Salesforce is something that a lot of people use in business nowadays. I learned a lot about managing Excel files and just honing in on my customer service skills, being able to see the dilemma of someone and rather than mirroring their emotions, instead figure out a way where I could be their problem solver.
Very nice. خب دوستان عزیز، قسمی که اسما جان گفتن که در کالج هم بسیار مهم است که همیشه باید با کانسلر یک محصل از اون آغاز یک ارتباط خوب داشته باشه و همیشه امرش با تماس باشه. بعضی اوقات بعضی صنف‌های می باشه که نه تنها با یک دیگری و درجه علمی شاید به کار بیایه، بلکه از او برای یک رشته فرعی هم شما اگر یک ماینر میگیرین، مثل که قسمو جان گفتن که بعضی از صنف‌هایی که اونا برای بیولوژی میگرفتن، حتی برای ماینر کیمیا برشون کمک کرد که از اون صنف استفاده کنن و شاید یک دو صنف اضافه گرفته باشه که ماینر خود به یا رشته فرعی خود در کیمیا هم اخذ کنه مو درجه علمیشه. و این کارهای بسیار چیزای اساسی است که به خاطر خود آدم تنها نمیتونه و یا مثلا درست است که هر محصلی که کالج میره یک کدلاک می داشته باشه برای سال اول که اون کل ریکوایرمنت ها رو برشان می یک چیز صنفایی رو بگیرین چی چیزا کار میایه. اما بر علاوه از او برای از که زیادتر معلومات زیاد شد، باید ضرور است که یک محصل تازه که شروع به تحصیلات عالی میکنه با امو کانسلر کشورش تعیین شده امرایش به تماس باشه و که اون راهنمایی بهتر و خوبتر کنه که به اصطلاح شورتکت ها و راه کوتاهی است که بسیار پیشرفت زیادی را برش میتونه برشان بیاره. مثلا فقط یک صنف اضافه بگیرین، شما صنفای دیگر گرفتین، بهتره شما یک ماینر داشته باشین. بسیار برای رزومه یک جوان بسیار خوب است و بسیار کمک میکنه. و همچنان هم به های سکول قسمی که اسما جانم گفتن و همتون شاید وزیست که اکثرا آگاهی را دارن، ولی همتنای عزیز ما که تازه به هم نیکا داخل شدن آمدن این معلومات ندارن و فکر میکنم در ممالک اروپایی هم تو باشه که ضرور است که هم به های سکول حتی به میدل سکول و یا مکتب متوسطه هم به پروگرام های مثلا ASB یا Associated Student Body به لیدرشپ باشن، به پل لیدرشپ باشن. این پروگرام است که برای جوانان بسیار فایده میکنه که اینا را نه تنها از نگاه تعلیمی پیشرفت میده، ولی از برای مچور شدن و رسیدن از اینا از نگاه اجتماعی و برای آماده ساختنشان برای آیندهشان بسیار زیاد کمک میکنن. و کلاب هایی که با های سکول است برایشان بسیار برای داخل شدن یک یونیورسیتی دلخواهشان کمک میکنه، به خاطر که اینا نه تنها یک شاگردی که تمام نمراتشان مثلا A باشه و A پلاس باشه، اما این تجربه در یک کارهای داوطلبانه یا والنتیر اونا نکرده باشن، او نمرات از اونا ارزش و قدر زیاد نیست که یک شاگردی که تا یک نظر نمراتش پایان تر باشه اما این تجربه داشته باشه. مثلا یک شاگردی که صنفای accelerated یا advanced placement میگیرن که او مثلا برای اوسط نمراتشان و یا grade point averageشان زیادتر حساب میشه، 4 point plus GPA می داشته باشن، از او که ولی تجربه کارهای داوطلبانه و کلاب چیزی نداشته باشه، ارزش از او برای یک یونیورسیتی کمتر است نظر به یک شاگردی که شاید 3.1 3.2 3.5 جی پی ای داشته باشه اما تجربه داشته باشه در کلاب های مختلف و کارهای داوطلبانه کرده باشه، او شخص را زیادتر ترجیح میتن که برای اجازه دخول برشان بده. و همچنان وقتی که شامل یک یونیورسیتی میشه یک جوان، ضرور است که تنها به درس های خود فکر نکنه، به کلاب ها هم خوب است که داخل باشن و این کارهای داوطلبانه کنن برای پیدا کردن وقت برای کار اپلای میکنن برای رشته خود. او که یک شاگرد همراه باز هم بسیار همراه آنرز گریجویت میشه و 4.0 داشته باشه، ولی نظر به یک محصل که کارهای داوطلبانه کرده و در پلو کار کرده و در رشته خود انترنشیپ کرده، تجربه حاصل کرده، اونا چانس از زیره که یک کار خوبتر و بهتر برش پیدا شوه و یک جای خوبتر برشون کار آفر بده زیادتر می داشته باشن. و به اصطلاح باید که یک انسان باید well rounded باشه که در هر ساحه یک چیز تنها فوکس و تمرکز و درس خواندن و قلم و کتاب همیشه نیست. و قسمی که اسما جان در شروع هم گفتن که از سن بسیار خرد همیشه کتاب میخواندن. خواندن کتاب باید ما با فرزندان خود تشویق کنیم از سنین از تولد. وقتی که یک طفل تولد میشه باید که یک مادر برش کتاب بخوره. در بطن مادر وقتی که یک مادر حامله می باشه باید کتاب بلند بخونه. باز طفل تولد میشه برش کتاب بخونه. وقتی که تا که خواندن یاد میگیره خود مادر باید امرایش پدر و مادر کتاب امرای طفل بخونه و برای توسعه دماغش چقدر فایده میکنه. و یک طفل که برش از طفولیت کتاب خوانده شده و بعدا خودش که یاد میگیره و می آموزه خواندن و بعد از خودش به خواندن کتاب آغاز میکنه از سن خرد، او طفل زیادتر آینده درخشانتر داره، بسیار موفقتر می باشه، به خاطر که در ساحات درسی هر رشته را که ما شما میخوانیم به هر مضمون را که در مکتب الیمنتری ابتدایی و متوسط و های اسکول می باشه، حتی به ریاضیات به صنف مد، اگر ریدینگ یک شاگرد خوب نمی باشه سوال های ورد پرابلم انالایز کرده نمیتونه، تجزیه کرده نمیتونه، درست تجزیه و تحلیل کرده نمیتونه و مطلب سوال نمیفهمه. و یا با ساینس که من خود معلم ساینس هستم میبینم که شاگردای ما بعضی اوقات یک سوال بسیار آسان را جواب دادن نمیتونه، به خاطر که اونمو سوال که در شروع می باشه راهنمایی و دایرکشن که برشان داده می باشه، دایرکشن ماناش صحیح تحلیل و تجزیه کرده نمیتونه، به خاطر که سویه خواندنش پایین است چون که کتاب نخوانده و اونمو وکابولری و لغات را که باید یاد داشته باشه یاد نداره که تجزیه و تحلیل کنه. از اون لحاظ بسیار ضرور است که تنها کتاب خواندن کتاب درسی ضرور نیست که باید خوانده شود. کتاب های دیگه هم باید که تشویق کنیم فرزندان خود مطالعه کنن، کتاب بخونن و مو وکابولریشن و لغاتشان محدود نباشه. در هر رشته باید که بفهمن تا بتونن که زیادتر به درس های خود در ساحه کار خود از هر نگاه موفق باشن. خب اسما جان عزیز، حالا اگر لطف کنین بگوین که خب قبل از اینکه سوال کنم دوستای عزیز و ارجمند لاین های تلفن هم باز است. حتی شما اگر از اسما جان بخواین که فاینانشل ادوایس بگیرین درباره موضوعات بزنس یا فایننسز سوال کنین و درباره موفقیت های خودش سوال کنین و تنها خواسته باشین که برای خودشان موفقیتشان شما برایشان یعنی از خودشان استقبال کنین و تبریک بگوین، هم میتونین زنگ بزنین. از لازم ضرور است که شما هم اشتراک کنین، برنامه را رنگین تر و خوبتر بسازین و از محترم دکتر صاحب آمش که گفتین برنامه عالی و راهنمایی کننده بسیار تشکر از لطف شما. خب دوستای عزیز، حالا از اسما جان میپرسیم که اسما جان when you were in high school and when you were in college did you focus just on your studies or did you work? If you did work, what kind of work experience and why did you choose where to work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here in the United States, you're not allowed to work until you turn to the age of 16.
Right.
And then even if so, you're only able to work certain types of jobs, no heavy machinery, nothing that deals with, driving giant cars, for example, or anything dangerous where you need some kind of certification. But I decided I wanted to start working at a young age, so I started when I was 16 because I just figured out that being able to understand my finances earlier on was very important, and also just so I could, provide for myself and learn the importance of that. So my very first job was at Sutherland's. It was a lumber store. I learned a lot about gardening tools, electrical equipment, about plants and flowers. And then I met a lot of business people there who would talk about their various projects, if they were building something, if they were architect or an engineer. So it was a really good experience, and one that I wasn't expecting just working there part-time after school. But the important thing is, again, to only work part-time in high school. I think I only worked maybe 12 to 20 hours, and then in the summer I would work more because I didn't have any classes. So it's important to make sure you don't overwhelm yourself, because at the same time I would have 2 or 3 clubs every year, and that was important to my social well-being, as well as to enhance my resume that I was building. Oh, which brings a good point. I would suggest, start writing your resume as soon as you're in 9th grade, because you'll forget a lot of things, or you'll forget to get the contacts of recommenders, or who you worked with, your managers, your volunteer team leads. So keeping all of that in track is very important, and having at least 2 or 3 bullet points where you talked about, one, what you did to enhance, whether you're working somewhere or volunteering somewhere, what you did to enhance the project, and the second one would be to give some kind of statistic. For example, when I was working at Sutherland's, I would help approximately 80 to 200 customers within a specific time period, whether it's a day or maybe it was within a week. Having that statistic really shows that you have both an analytical mind, and then having the other bullet point of how you were helping the more creative and more open-minded kind of mindset as well.
Right. بله سلام بفرمایید.
Assalamu alaikum, Mariam and Asma. My name is Monis, and I have a question. Since I'm a junior in high school and on.
Okay, would you mind speaking louder, please?
Oh yeah. Can you hear me now?
You could still keep your loudest voice. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. How about now?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So due to COVID-19, I'm a high school. I'm a junior in high school, and I was wondering, because we can't really volunteer in like different programs or charities or interns like we could before. I was wondering what we can do to still have an opportunity to be more successful in college applications.
Thank you very much. Do you want to stay on the? You said your name was Monis John.
Yes.
Thank you, Monis John, for the call and a great question. So, would you do you want to just listen, or do you want to stay on the line?
I'll stay on the line.
Okay. Asma John, the question is, Monis John is a junior in high school. Due to COVID, and so there are not many opportunities for her to be doing internships or volunteering. So what advice do you have for her in this current situation? How could a high school student such as Monis John, who is a junior, how could she earn that same experience of internship and volunteer work?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. Thank you so much for calling in. I've had a lot of people ask me something similar to that in regards to either applying into specific programs in high school or going into their college years. I would say, due to the fact with COVID, if you really want to enhance your volunteering, you'll need to kind of think outside of the box. Something I did this past year was teach people just basic principles of finance and biology, and I created my own Facebook page. And that was an outlet where I could socialize with people and help them, but stay safe at the same time. So look into what your skills are, look into what your passions and interests are. If you really love, literature or history, you could start writing a book. You could, do teaching programs online where you teach people about history or how to write, for example. If you're someone who really loves to do artwork or you're creative in that sense, maybe you could make pieces for, I know a lot of like elderly home care centers, they are, they're very distressed because they can't see their loved ones due to their health condition. You could, volunteer and do kind of a Bob Ross thing where you would teach them how to make something simple, for instance, to paint something that they can make. If you were into science or, math, you could tutor online for free and show that you're there and you're willing to help those within your local community before anything else, showing that, based on your experiences, maybe you really had a tough time learning a specific like math, like trigonometry, and you had a mentor who helped you out really well in high school, and you wanted to then give back to your community by giving out free lessons. So those are kind of some examples of what you could do while being safe and using technology to help your local community.
Thank you. Thank you for the great answer, and thank you, Moniz John, for a great question. Do you have any other questions?
Well, I am interested in the healthcare. So obviously, I like how she said to think outside of the box, but it's kind of hard to intern in hospitals or stuff like that because I'm doing an online pharmacy program, but obviously I can't really go in person because the COVID-19 it's obviously spreading. So is there any good scholarships she recommends so I can stand out from the rest?
Good scholarship that will help you stand out from the rest. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Did you hear the question?
I think I missed a little bit. Could you
So
repeat
because
that for me?
of the limitations on being able to do the volunteer work, because she is interested in healthcare aspects, are there any scholarships that would help her stand out from the rest that she can apply for? And that was your question, right?
Yes, besides the Davis Scholarship, which you mentioned before.
Okay. Do you have any other scholarships that you can recommend?
Yeah, what state are you currently living in?
What state are you living in?
California.
California.
Okay, there is one that I know of that is a full ride in California. Let me search it real quick, but I'll answer the question at the same time. So the difference between getting a scholarship and actually doing an extracurricular is different. Getting into medical school, they're not going to look at your scholarships. So I wouldn't worry in that regard. Having a scholarship doesn't mean you're going to get into a medical program just based on volunteering, etc. The important thing is for getting that scholarship is the financial aspect of it, right? So in your case, what I can say is for the medical field, one, again, you can try to teach people for free online in some format, whether it's an elementary school, you just want to do it on a platform like this, social media. If Instagram is your thing, making posts about, how to stay safe, about, different practices around the world in regards to basic hygiene, for example, is something that I think a lot of people don't know about nowadays. And then in regards to actually volunteering, I would look online and either get into contact with care centers, hospitals, clinics, and see if they're working on any projects. If they need help with their social media accounts, for example, you could actually get an internship that way. If they're looking for people to do like data entry for them, you could get, maybe potentially a paid internship that way. So there's still a lot of possibilities online. It's just getting out of your comfort zone and not just applying, but actually getting into the contact with the main people or main leads for various places in the healthcare industry.
Thank you. Any other questions, Monis John, or that's it?
She answered all things. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the call, and thank you for watching the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Glasses.
Thank you. Okay, Asma John, I know you're interested in creating a company that is involved in environmentally friendly production of goods for trades to help develop sustainability in third world countries. So what kind of specific ideas do you have in mind, and what's your idea of running an effective NGO? Oh, actually, answer the first part first, and then I'll ask you because I know you're in.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. So the reason I wanted to go into finance, which is my master's program right now, was because I saw the benefits of it in either starting a business or a nonprofit. Whether your main reason or goal is to either make money or to provide some kind of aid to a different country or your local community, you need to have the basic financial skills to create your financial statements, be able to prepare your tax documents, be able to, make sure that the company itself is sustainable, that it's able to pay its employees, that it has enough money to have some kind of headquarters, to get its resources, supplies. Because even with a nonprofit, just getting government aid or just getting local aid is not going to be enough. It might be able to cover, 60 to 70% of the costs, but that's not always guaranteed. With our recent, with the recent COVID-19, a lot of small businesses, a lot of smaller nonprofits went out of business because they didn't think about the additional resources or additional finances that they would need beyond the government or local help that they got.
Very good. So, that's great. And how would your knowledge help others struggling, especially refugees and immigrants? How can you help them?
Yeah, so the nonprofit that I hope to start in the future would be dedicated towards both education as well as medical supplies. I think anyone can attest the type of education you get really helps define you as a person. Not in all regards, but it is a building factor into what you can do in the future. Especially, depending on the country you're in, having a higher degree usually results in being able to get a higher salaried career, getting benefits like healthcare, dental, and then also, that societal concept of being accepted and getting the tools that you need throughout your life. So what I want to do is be able to, build schools, or at least, if not that, get the type of knowledge that I was able to receive here and send that over, whether that's through, sending over books and materials for education or computers. That's what I want to do in regards to education. The other part is we're seeing kind of decrease within third world countries and their ability to get proper medical supplies. And I think it's really important to realize that there's a surplus in a lot of other countries that, are ending up throwing away these supplies because they expire. So what I want to do is kind of create a chain or an operational chain where, hospitals who have supplies that are going to be, expiring soon, they don't need them, can easily transfer over to another country that does without having, giant fees and costs or having to figure out their taxes, their legal liability by giving away this, any kind of medical technology or supplies that they might have.
Very nice. Thank you so much. So, in general, what would you owe your success to?
Yeah, so I think this concept of like nature versus nurture is very important, right? Everyone is born with, a set of genetics that gives them, a certain height, a certain eyesight ability, etc. But no one should ever feel that their genetic capabilities are the entire thing. What you as a person can do is beyond what other people define you as. So that was really important from a young age. I didn't ever have that concept of, being a female, I could only do this. I could only cook, I can only sew. Being a young person, I can't be a team lead or, play sports or, start my own business early on. I need other people. Having mentors, having a strong parental background who, they want you to succeed and they're always there for you. And being able to get resources without having to worry about finances, going to my local library, going to after school programs, and being able to kind of comprehend and understand the difficulties of other people was really important. Yeah, and volunteering and various community backgrounds was really important
So
for me.
you kind of had this natural desire and intrinsic motivation to do all of that, right? Um, how would you picture yourself growing up in today's society with so much distraction, with all these gadgets, with all the social media and all that? Imagine if you were growing up now, and would have you been able to do this?
Yeah, so I was kind of in the middle of the tech boom. Like right before the tech boom, I was maybe 6 or 7, learning about email, learning about Facebook, all of that. Kind of, started that childhood, uh, you know, distraction of always having technology around you. And I would say the best thing you can do is force the technology to make you be time managed, make you more observant of what you're doing. So on my phone, I have like a basic planner on there. I have a notes app on there to make sure I have write important things throughout the day that I need to do. I have timers set. So I give myself specific break times where I can do whatever I want. I can watch a movie, I can listen to music, and then I give myself, the best amount of study time is 60 to 90 minutes. And I think a lot of parents, when they're trying to make sure their students are getting the best grades, forget that the brain needs to rest. The neurons within your brain need to connect with each other, both short-term and long-term, i.e. your short-term memory, your long-term memory, in order for you to be able to recall it back later on. And your brain usually needs a good 15 to 30-minute break in between to get that connectivity occurring. So, give yourself breaks, but also force yourself some way to stop the distractions. I use my technology, I use my phone to tell me, okay, this is when you need to work, this is when you need to do your chores, this is when you need to do this is when you can have some fun. Other people, they just completely get rid of their technology. They turn off their phone completely, or they hide it somewhere. They only give themselves 1 hour a day if they're more strict with themselves. So really, it's up to you and how you want to be able to get everything important done and manage everything, but also, socialize, take a rest, and hopefully once COVID is over, go outside more. I think that's really important.
Those are wonderful advices. Thank you so much. دوست عزیز واقعا که البته خب چون اسما جان از طفولیت و بک‌گراند بسیار قوی و خوب داشت و دختر درس خوان و زحمت کش بود ولی اطفالی که امروز بزرگ میشن امرای سلفون ها و امرای گجت ها و تکنولوژی هایی که همگی دارن به شمول پسر خودم که 17 سال است تمام روز مصروفش می باشد و مخصوصا امرای حالا که شاگردایی که آنلاین از خانه درس میخوانند کامپیوتر پیش رویشان است و صنف هستند و به تلفن خود امرای رفیق خود چت میکنن و آیپد گیم بازی میکنن و این چیزهایی است که ما اگر از طفولیت لیمیتیشن برشان از آغاز وقتی که یک چیز برشان میگیریم یک قرارداد یا کانترکت امرایشان داشته باشیم و من خودم به این قسمت مشکل دارم یعنی اگر کسی در این قسمت کدام راز موفقیت داشته باشه که برای دیگرها بگوین بسیار خوب است که از طریق برنامه ما بگوین این چیزایی است که باید با وقت معینش استفاده شود و کسی که دیسپلین نداشته باشه متاسفانه که امو وقت گرانبهایش که در وقتی که درس خواندن می باشه امی چیزها همشان بسیار یک دیسترکشن است بسیار یک مزاحمت است برشان و بالای درس هایشان بسیار تاثیر بسیار سخت داره. Thank you, that was great advice because with distance learning at this time all these gadgets are such a major distraction. And are you taking all your classes online, right?
Yeah, so all my classes are online. They have been the past year, which can, be very difficult to focus if you're not in that physical setting where, you have other people looking at you, your professor, so you don't touch your phone. So I put my phone away somewhere when I'm taking my classes online so I can really, pay attention and get all the knowledge I need.
Yeah, that's very important. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Asma. Was there something that I did not ask you that I did not cover and you wanted to talk about before I end the show?
So I wanted to go back to our viewer's question because I didn't give the specific scholarship's name. I was looking that up. I would look into the schools first that you want to apply to. Usually they have like a presidential scholarship, which is typically either a partial or full scholarship. And then I know there are some bigger companies that do full ride scholarships. So I would look into various companies, just general ones that don't need to be in the medical field that provide full ride scholarships. And then I know we wanted to talk a little bit about taxes. Did you still want to talk about that?
Sure, very quick because our time is running. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you are currently doing your taxes, I would say if you have children, make sure to put them down as your dependents. And if you have any financial costs for education, make sure to get your 1098T. A lot of people forget about it, but you can get a pretty significant tax deduction for going to school and having to pay. Make sure you have all of your Social Security, your IDs, all your W-2s. If you go into any kind of stock, any kind of investing, any kind of external businesses where you can get dividends, make sure to get that paperwork, because if you don't, you can actually get in trouble for not providing that information. People, for example, were using Robinhood. If you make anything, I think it's usually above $10 or $20, you need to put that on your taxes. And I think a lot of people forget to do that.
Very good. Thank you so much. Thanks again and wish you lots of success and hope to have you again to give us more advice.
For sure, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for all the viewers and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.
Thank you. It was a pleasure having you. خداحافظ. خب دوستان عزیز ارجمند ای بود صحبت ما با اسما جان پوپل جوان موفق. امیدوارستم که نظریاتشان براتان قابل استفاده باشه و انشالله که است. و هفته آینده برنامه نوروزی با کانون فرهنگی جامی داریم. امیدوارستم که بیننده برنامه باشین و با تشکر مجدد از مهمان عزیز ما اسما جان پوپل و همکارای تکنیکی و شما دوستان و بینندگان عزیز که از هر طریقی که برنامه را دیدین و از پیام هایتان تشکر بسیار زیاد. با تشکر از همه شما برنامه امروز به میجا با پایان میرسانیم تا هفته آینده. خداوند یار و مددگارتان. خداحافظ. توانا بود ارکی دانا بود ز دانش دل پیر برنا بود.
آریانا افغانستان یگانه شبکه تلویزیونی ملی افغانها در خارج از کشور